I'd like to tell y'all a true story of something that happened to me. I used to live in Mechanicsville in Virginia, right off of Chickahominy Bluffs, which is like a big swamp area. A lot of woods, a lot of swamp out there. Goes on for a long time. And I was hearing all kinds of noise in the woods, like something big moving around. And I didn't think too much of it, but my brother came over to the house and I told him, I was like, man, I've been hearing something out in the woods, And he went outside to smoke a cigarette by himself. When we came back in, he looked kind of spooked. He said, man, it's something big in them woods out there. I guess he didn't think much of it. But as time went on, I would go outside by myself and smoke a cigarette. And I would just hear knocking. It's almost like somebody was building something, but not really. Just kind of like knocking on wood. But at first, I didn't just think somebody was knocking on wood. I figured, who the fuck is out there in the woods this time of night, out in the pitch dark, building something? That's what I thought. But the more I think about it, it didn't really sound like no hammer hitting no nail or nothing like that. It sounded like wood on wood. So this happened for a few nights. And finally, I wasn't thinking Sasquatch. So finally, I had some debris on my patio that was, considerably heavy. And it was knocking pretty good. And, every once in a while I'd make a noise like, yeah, y'all, what the hell y'all doing out there in the woods? Something like that. And it would be quiet for a minute. And then it would start right back up. And so I had this piece of debris on my patio. And it was knocking. And it was kind of like an opening in the trees where I could throw it back deep into the woods. So I did. I drew back as hard as I could and threw it as hard as I could deep into the woods. And you could hear it cutting through the leaves. And finally you could hear it land like in a little holler. And when I did that, it was silence. And as soon as you heard it hit the ground, it was like 2 or 3 seconds of silence, and then all at once, whatever was knocking on wood started wailing on wood. And let me tell you something. It was loud and powerful sounding enough to make the hair on the back of my neck stand up. And my ass went in the house and got my gun. And if that was a man, it was a hell of a man. I'm going to tell you that right now. It was a hell of a man. You talking about Game of Thrones mountain or something. To have some power like that. It scared the hell out of me. And I was like, damn, what could that have been? And then later on, me and my wife, we were laying in the bed, getting ready to go to sleep. And, my patio's right by my back window where we go to sleep. And I heard this weird ass noise. I swear to God, it sounded like a child. It sounded like a child, but not like a baby. It sounded like a little girl. And it was sounding like it was like, it's hard to describe. To me, it sounded like it was saying, help me, but like a little girl, like a really distressed little girl with something wrong with her throat. And that scared my wife was like, what the hell was that? And I was like, I think it's a little girl. And I thought it was a little girl so much that I had to go and look outside to see if it was a little girl in distress. And when I saw it was nothing out there you go again with the hair on the back of my neck. My ass went back into the house. But I still didn't think much of it, And then I was talking to my buddy Daniel Adams, and he was telling me about an encounter his father had. And his father has been a deer hunter for years, goes deep into the woods, knows noises animals make, all that good stuff. Well, he was hunting one day in the Chickahominy Bluffs, and he said something was grunting at him. And it was enough to spook him up out the woods. And when he got back to where he was going, he seen a fellow hunter. And he told him what happened. And he was like, hey man, well, you're in the Chickahominy Bluffs. I heard some stuff out there too. And that's 2 different people who's heard some shit in the Chickahominy Bluffs. And when I heard that, I was like, oh my God. Well, whatever I heard could have been a legit Sasquatch. So, to this day, I believe that I heard a Sasquatch. I wasn't lucky enough, or maybe I was lucky enough not to see it, but I heard something And if it was a man, it was a hell of a man. And this is a true story. And if you're ever in the Chickahominy Bluffs in Virginia, be careful.